So let's get into the topic of the show. Topic of the show is about China. And
God.
that was a little tense.
How does Trump say it? China.
China. He says China.
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 Yeah,
China.
I hate him so much. It's about China's influence over Hollywood.
Yes.
So this is a bit of an interesting topic because, I mean, as we all go watch movies so much in theaters and even at home, we ourselves have been noticing that so many films now have all these Chinese production companies.
Right.
And I was like, this started like almost out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like Transformers 4 or 3 or whichever one of them really like is when I noticed.
Right. I think the Age of Extinction one.
Something like that.
Whatever.
Whichever the fifth one, seventh one, I don't even know. That's when I really at least took notice.
You're just noticing the production companies and
Right.
the product placements and the actors.
And then after that, it just felt like every film, no matter how big or how small, had some sort of a Chinese influence on it.
Right. So, I mean, like, why is that? China's a giant population. They're going to have, like, according to all the research that we were doing, because we were actually looking. We came prepared, you know, we're coming correct today. Like, their movie watching population is going to, if not already, by 2020, be larger than the North Americas.
Yeah.
Right? They have more movie theater screens there. So, obviously, production companies and studios want to have their movies screen there to make money off of it. But what China does is that they actually limit the amount of foreign films, so films made outside of China, like to 34 movies a year.
But before it used to be like 4 to 5.
Yeah, it used to be
none
almost
sometimes.
none, yeah.
But The Fugitive was one of the first films that really broke that mold. And it became so popular in China that they were, I believe, reselling tickets when that movie came out. And then that really paved the way to, okay, well, clearly there's a market here. Let's try to make more movies.
Why The Fugitive?
Who knows?
It just did.
It could be a mix of Harrison Ford. It could be a mix of them just that movie not offending the government there, that they said, yes, we'll approve this movie. And then audiences really liked it.
Or they really liked it because, you know,
Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy Lee Jones.
I don't get it, though.
I don't get it. Is he Chinese?
No. But he's like famous.
Oh, Tommy
in China.
Lee.
Oh, damn.
Tommy Lee Jones.
That's
and they're
it.
like, oh, it must be the famous.
Or like the Chinese like to get
actor.
away with murder of their wife, but then
Oh, this is
not
but not
Daniel.
but not really murder their wife with
interesting.
hook man.
Interesting.
You know the hook man?
This would be an example of a joke that wouldn't be allowed in China.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're already banned.
We're definitely banned in China.
I wonder
Our
if we have any
podcast-
listeners in China.
The Republic of China.
I will definitely
not.
we'll definitely take a look into that.
But what's interesting is that 14, again, very specific numbers. 14
They're lucky numbers, I believe.
out of the 34 movies need to be in either 3D or IMAX. Again, we're getting these facts from a couple different sources, specifically from a Vox video article and video that kind of broke this all down. But what's it's interesting that we're seeing this, you know, and we're seeing it a lot more. Like Shay was saying, recently this is happening,
Especially with all that's happening right now with Hong Kong and China.
right.
Even in the NBA.
NBA with LeBron James.
Well, that's because of what's been happening in Hong Kong and
Yeah.
China, right? Like this is now being picked up so heavily, and China is. I mean, the spotlight's on them more now than ever.
Right. And we're seeing this again get a lot like this. Not that this hasn't been happening, but we're seeing it picked up a lot more because things like Blizzard, the game company, Activision Blizzard, like they had a bunch of controversy going on there that they were taking prize money away from somebody who said free Hong Kong during their stream. So they basically banned them and took their prize money. We're seeing it because LeBron James. So we're saying some stuff too. Yeah. So it's like we're seeing, and like I forget what basketball team it was though. That
the Rockets.
The Rockets that China said no, we're not going to sell any of their merch anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of controversy, and we're seeing big companies that make so much money, I guess, bow down to the rules of China because they don't want to offend China because that is such a large population of where they can make money, right? Like we are seeing this. Like example, Star Wars is a movie that is not popular in China. Right? But we see them go out of their way to promote it so much there and include characters like in Rogue One, we saw like Donnie Yen's character, and I'm blanking on the other actor's name, be featured more because they want
even in the beginning of Last Jedi, remember?
Right. Like we have a lot more Asian representation, which I'm all for having diversity in movies, but there's also a line where they're just doing it, pandering to get it into that market.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 is a great example of that, where literally the doctor that I guess does the operation on Tony's heart at the end of the movie, in China, there's literally a bonus scene where you see him in his office literally drinking, holding up almost like the carton of whatever he's drinking up to the camera, just so it could like please the Chinese audience or please the censors in China as well too.
It's
a complicated
it's
topic.
A complicated topic.
Yeah.
It's a complicated topic, and it's one that I'm not gonna lie, it upsets me.
Why? What's upsetting about it?
It's just nothing feels authentic anymore. It doesn't feel like the films are written now. Like, for example, if you look at Looper, Looper is supposed to take place in Paris.
Yeah.
For example, that was where the script was written. But to please Chinese audiences, to make more, they placed it in Shanghai.
Right.
And then they added some Chinese characters, and they added extra scenes in China. They even added extra characters on the poster for China.
Right.
And there was a movie that came out recently where
they're like, oh, look at this. Yeah, I'm blanking on the name of the movie right now.
But it was a character who I think was in the background of a scene.
Yeah.
But they were on the poster in China.
Man, what was the movie? It's gonna bother me.
It's gonna bother us, but we'll look it up.
But yeah, like it's a bunch of little things like that, and I'm with you too, Shay, because like you want to, I guess, trust, and you do trust the integrity of movies, and I mean, the thing is with the writers and the creators of the movie, like I can't fault, like if I'm looking at Doctor Strange, for example, the ancient one who was played by Tilda Swinton got a lot of controversy because she wasn't somebody from Tibet. Right. But the thing is, the Republic of China doesn't recognize Tibet as a country.
Right.
So by having somebody of Tibet, first of all, they also didn't want it to be like a racist caricature of like an old martial artist person. Right. But also by having somebody from Tibet, they're also alienating that population of China that would be like, no, you're recognizing this. We're not going to approve this movie in our country. Right. So it's you start to look back and be like, damn, like you don't realize how much influence this country's having. And I'm also, China has their ways, but I'm also not blaming China for that, because that's China doing it.
That's just China.
It's the studios, and the studios are trying to conform to that because they want to get into that market, right?
Yeah.
It's money.
It is money. But I also like the agenda, China's agenda,
right?
And how it manages its own people, kind of.
Well, it's a communist country, right?
Yeah, so it's like, why are we conforming our movies, and like even we're talking about Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, recutting the Bruce Lee,
cutting it out,
like cutting it out completely because with his daughter asked,
but it wasn't even that. It's literally they didn't want a Chinese character to be depicted in a negative light. Right. And I'm going to get into some of the subcategories in a second, but I'll let you continue.
So, to me, like, this is all new. Like, this is really all new to me in the sense that how does a country tell someone who's an artist what they can do? You can go fuck yourself. I don't care about my movie being, because it's also a cultural thing. Like, what's Once Upon a Time in Mexico? Oh my gosh. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood gonna, like, how is someone from China gonna understand this film? Right. They're not. Sorry. It's like me watching something from China and trying to understand that culture. Right. There's also a clash of cultures. Right. But like Marvel movies make sense because there's
like when they may hit,
it's like it's a story that
it's for everyone to
understand.
When they may hit like maybe like 5% of China with the story of Once Upon a Time, whereas in North America and everywhere else they might hit 80% of the people. Yeah. That's such a huge risk. Like why jeopardize your artistic talent or your artistic vision?
And how much money do you want to make? Like this movie's already made quite a bit of money.
But and that's the thing, right?
Like, how greedy do you need to be, like, on the bad? Like, sorry, it's on the bad side,
right? And again, like,
sorry for the Chinese.
No, and that's what I want to say. Like, I know we're not attacking people of China. Where it's the decisions of the politics.
They don't have our addresses, right?
I hope
not. They can paint their fences.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god! He means
that movie isn't allowed in China, Anthony.
The Irishmen, and then we're gonna change it to the Chinaman.
The Chinaman?
Chinese audiences painting fences is actually a common practice here.
Yes.
Where we will go and paint your house fence. That's
Have you seen what's Tom Sawyer?
Tom Sawyer
that he's painting the fences? No. All right, that's a deep cut.
That would be funny if they had to change the movie.
But here's the thing, like
Chinese guy,
Chinese
that's Robert De Niro's character.
I mean, they're CG characters anyway,
they're using,
right?
Like de-aging, but like de-race technology.
Oh my god, de-race
or like race technology.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, like, I'm not faulting the population of China. This is decisions at the government level, right? Like, the who was the leader of China called? What is he called?
I can find out for you.
Yeah, he doesn't like Winnie the Pooh was banned there because people make fun of him.
Students,
they think he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yeah, Xi Jinping.
Yeah, but what's his title?
Does look like
He's the leader of China.
But that's called the president of China.
Presidente. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's such pettiness to it, and the fact that it's like only 34 movies. Like again, we're Canadian. There are broadcast things from like, I think it's CanCon that like TV and radio need to follow because we need to still have Canadian content represented. But we're not disallowing the rest of the content. That's I think the difference where it's like they will not allow content
to the point where you're banning
and altering creative the vision of the director, right? Like
hell no.
Tarantino had to cut down Django because it was too violent, right? And I kind of like that. He's like, you know what, I'm not going to recut my movie because this is my artistic vision, right?
No, it's like repainting
the Mona Lisa
like, because someone didn't like it. That's what this art form is. It's a freedom of expression,
right? But that's the thing. It's funny you say that because in films in China, films that are being made here cannot talk about freedom. Like
no.
if you have a line in the film that says it's my right, like like in America, it's free speech. You literally cannot have that scene. They will literally in that film.
There's a scene in Skyfall that Daniel Craig's character. Also, speaking of James Bond, Casino Royale was the first Bond movie to be allowed in China. Weird fact. In Skyfall, when he's talking to one of the to this female character, he literally says to her, "Oh," because she has a tattoo that, "Oh, you're part of like from a child's ring of like child slaves or whatever like that." And they kept that line in the movie, but the translation is wrong. The Chinese translation, literally says that, "Oh, you're part of this organization." It doesn't say anything to that because they literally turn their heads to anything that they're accused of, right? Just like Shay was saying, like they'll literally either edit it out or they'll put wrong translation, so it's not showing China in a negative light.
You can't talk about organ transplants. You can't talk about weird stuff, man.
Yeah, it's
things that actually happen.
Things that happen, right?
Yeah, opium trades.
Well, there's 3 ways for foreign films or U.S. films to get into China, just so we can get a little bit more facts out here. Revenue sharing, which basically means that whatever it makes in China, the studio and China will split. Co-producing, which is a popular one that we've been talking about. A couple of the last Mission Impossibles have had Chinese.
Yep. Alibaba Pictures, Tencent.
Tencent, which owns like everything.
Brothers, I believe, right?
Yeah, another
Alibaba
one.
is a Chinese studio
production company. Yeah, well, they're actually like they're Amazon. They're almost they're huge.
And then Tencent literally owns like Epic Games, and they have stakes in everything.
Chinese, like Alibaba.
Yeah, it sounds like my people. I know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, look at you.
You look at me only. You're like Alibaba.
Do you know Alibaba?
Aren't you the president?
Did you want to let me know more about this Alibaba situation?
The next way. So yeah, we spoke about co-producing.
Does China owe me money then?
I think they might. Good luck getting it though.
Like I'm just looking at like Chinese productions. They love their like historical Chinese like.
Yeah, which Daniel will get into.
With co-producing, literally, it's not considered a foreign film at that point because you're co-producing it. There needs to be scenes of it shot in China, and at least a third of the cast has to be Chinese, and China has to be shown in a positive light and be part of the story. Now, you think about that, and then you think of Transformers 4, where literally halfway through the movie, they're like, you know what? We need to go to China. And literally, that's probably more plot than what Transformers 4 had in the sense of bringing them there. Yeah. And it's just like literally
it was over the top how much China they had in that film.
The last way to get a foreign movie into China, paying a flat fee where China gets 100% of the ticket sales. So literally you're paying just to have your movie shown there.
Yeah.
And obviously
which no one really
studios just don't want to do that.
No, they want to partner in.
Right.
So how does Disney make money there?
They get some movies get released there, some movies get a really late release there.
Right. Because they got Mulan coming out.
Yeah,
which is going to be like huge.
But that'll probably have a Chinese production company maybe attached to it.
Maybe it does, but also if China likes it though, what if it doesn't show things in a negative light?
Oh, Disney's not going to like.
But that's the thing. Disney's a big one that they have to conform because that is over 1 billion people just in that country alone, right?
And then what's the other Marvel character who's getting his own movie?
Yeah. Oh, Shaolin? No, Simu Liu's playing him. Oh my, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, that's it. Shang-Chi and the Ten Ring. Yeah.
Not who's the other? You said someone else, and I thought of Mortal Kombat for a second.
Donnie Yen?
No, I think I said a Mortal Kombat character. That's
Yes,
why.
you did.
That's why.
Goro.
Yeah, like Raiden. He'll be
Liu Kang rated.
But what's interesting though, my last fact, just to kind of give us all some contexture here, China is literally building their own version of Hollywood, which is called like Wanda Studios, I guess in English, which is an $8.2 billion investment, and it's being built by the same company that bought AMC in 2012.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that it's like China already has a big influence on an American company, AMC probably being one of the biggest theater chains in North America, right?
Yes, but see, they're gonna have this $8.2 billion studio,
right,
to make movies about,
and they'll decide who gets to shoot there because you'll have to conform to those rules as well, right? Because it's gonna be a state of the art studio. Yeah, it's weird, right?
It's state of the art for them,
right?
Oh no, they'll probably be state of the art for us.
I mean, it'll have to be state of the art.
They'll have everything.
Yeah, they're gonna have
they'll have
walk
5DX
in and there's be a desert in there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Think about it. It's China.
Yeah.
Everything is made there, so production costs for them will be cheap.
Yeah,
and they can literally create. They have some of the best technology there.
Right.
Yeah. So leading to my other point, they have this huge studio. What movies are they gonna make?
Right.
I mean, it's controlled, and it seems like majority of their movies are.
A lot of them are propaganda films.
Films.
The Great Wall, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon film. Like, come on, that movie went. How did that do in China?
It bombed here. I don't know. I'm not. We'll get a fact check on China.
See if I can find out.
But it's funny though, because like movies again, like anything to do with superstition or like magic, or ghosts, they don't like in China. They don't approve.
Like, what
but Harry Potter is huge there, and it's like that. I guess if you're a big enough brand, it'll do well. But like it just
like you can't show sex. You can't show that's why like a lot of these Korean films are so amazing because they have like this freedom and it allows them to express their own culture,
Parasite, right? Like
in such a way that you don't know because you don't live in Korea.
Right.
You don't live in South Korea.
Right.
So you don't understand like what their thought process is when they make the movies. But with China, you know that you're gonna get a movie that's pretty much it's set up for them to make everyone
to make them look right
good,
to make the government look good. It's such petty things too, like changing in World War Z, like changing the virus from being in China to coming from a different country, or in Red Dawn, I think
it was
they
supposed
made
to
it
be China, but it's
they
North Korea.
made it North Koreans, right? So it's such like the movie was terrible, by the way. The remake with Chris Hemsworth and everything.
Did you watch it?
I watched it. That
was directed by Kevin Smith.
Oh, so sorry to hear that, dude.
No.
Kevin Smith.
No. Red Dawn.
Kevin Smith directed that.
No way. Was it? The 2011 one they shot it and it came out like 4 years after they made
Let's
it.
look it up.
Sorry?
Why'd you go see that?
I
depressed?
I watched a bootleg version of it.
You're really depressed.
That's even worse.
So I watched it in my own home.
No, it was directed by Dan Bradley.
Oh shit.
Dan Bradley. Dude,
Kevin Smith he was a writer on it?
Listen, man, I don't think Kevin Smith even saw this film.
Kevin Smith is like, I've seen it. I've seen the 80s one.
Yeah, he's like, his name is not even
Kevin
Reynolds.
Is there a Kevin and a Smith on that page though, maybe?
Damn, I thought Kevin Smith did something with Red in it.
So Great Wall, by the way, just so we're very clear.
Yeah, the Matt Damon film.
Yeah, it was a disappointment in China, and it only grossed 170 million there.
In China?
And then they banned Matt Damon.
But a lot of that also could be to the fact that it's about, a white savior,
right?
China.
Right.
So
kind of the location with the ponytail.
And Willem Dafoe.
Oh, I forgot Willem Dafoe's in that as well.
What's the story about Brad Pitt?
Oh, Brad Pitt. I was. What do you mean?
Pedro Pascal was in it.
Brad Pitt's banned from.
Is he banned in China?
I think so because of 7 years in Tibet.
Oh, yes.
So in movies he's in it.
I want to give him 7 years in China after that.
Yeah, I guess I understand why, but they don't let things go.
Dan and I this morning we watched the South Park episode as well of Banned in China. Great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally see why it was banned in China. And it really explains and shows further, like, when they're just trying to make a movie, and then the Chinese government's getting involved, rewriting every couple things, and it's just, man, it is, like, it's tough to be a creator.
Yeah, especially if you're, this is the thing, like, going back to what Scorsese said and what Francis Ford Coppola said about Marvel movies not being cinema, I understand them in the fact that I understand where they're coming from because they're coming from a time where you could make a movie and not have to worry about like appeasing certain audiences, right?
Right.
Now, when you're looking at, and now that kind of generation of filmmakers kind of being pushed out, right? And the theaters only want big movies, and if studios are only going to make big movies, they're going to make it that only the biggest audience could see them, right? And you're having movies. That's why it's always such a big deal when we see movies like, oh, this is opening day and date with China. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Endgame opened the same day in China as it opened worldwide. So everyone was like, that's huge because that's so much money being made at one time, right? Mm-hmm. I think Black Panther came out like months later in China. There's a lot of movies that come out in China months later, and it's because the Chinese government doesn't want to approve them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's sad to say it, that it's like, to the Chinese government, they see a character like Black Panther and they're like, no, we don't really care about that. You know what I mean?
What is this character
like? What does he have to do? What does he have to relate to this character, right? But yeah, there's movies that they literally get months and months released late in China. It's just because they just don't get approved, or they'll have to make changes to appease that government. Right?
So what do you?
It actually wasn't that long. Actually, no. So that's Hong Kong.
And it's so funny because you think that nowadays you would have so much freedom to make movies.
You would think, yeah.
Like back in the day, they were just making movies because, these are the stories that they wanted to tell. And they probably thought, man, imagine what's going to be like 20, 30 years from now. They're going to have so much freedom and they can do so many things. And it's the opposite. Like now
it'll only get worse now as we see more and more movies go down this route. Like, I've been seeing indie films go down this route. Like we watched. I remember when you and I watched The Edge of 17, for example.
Yeah.
In that film, it's an indie film. It's
very much an indie.
Low budget movie.
Stanfield, yeah.
And it opens up and it's like H Brothers, and I'm like, oh, that's a Chinese company.
It's funny because like it started, and we're like, whoa, what movie are we in right now?
Was there
there's an Asian character in the film, but he's Korean in the movie.
Oh. Isn't he the love interest?
Yeah, he's Korean though. Yeah. So I was like, okay, so he's not Chinese, and then like the whole film's about her rebelling against her parents. So I'm just kind of like, did this film come out there? And if it did, like, really, did it make any money?
Right.
Like, it was so weird. I'm like, why did there was a Chinese studio behind? Like, the weirder and weirder films nowadays, you'll just see it. Like, now it doesn't even surprise me. Like, I'll watch a film, I'm like, okay, it was cool. It's a Chinese production company.
Yeah.
Let's see how much Chinese propaganda's in it.
But now you know why. Now you understand, like, the logistics, why they do this, so they could still turn a profit at the end of it.
Yeah.
Now, like, when you say, oh, why is there, that Chinese drink in
the product placements are, I think, even more obvious than they are for American
Independence Day Insurgents was one of the ones that I remember watching, and I was just like, they literally like referenced like whatever Asian milk they're drinking.
Yeah,
and I'm
just
like,
same milk that they had in Transformers.
Yeah, and it's just like, what the heck? It's like
and he's using QQ chat.
It's so in your face, and like I'm looking at.
I'm surprised they don't make like two versions of these films.
They do.
They basically do at some point.
If you think about
it,
like, look at Looper. They added extra scenes for the Chinese film. There's like extra 30 minutes, I think, sometimes. Even Transformers, they had extra scenes. Like, there's a scene where Stanley Tucci's character is in like an elevator, and he's in an elevator with an Asian guy. It's a boxer that's famous for
that. Never showed here.
Well, it did, but it's a longer cut in China. It's extra fight scene.
Yikes! Yeah. Yikes!
When you look at Tencent, which has a movie division now, they literally have a search engine, social media, instant messaging, email, music, payment system, film production, video games. They're involved in everything. Tencent Pictures.
But who owns Tencent?
Tencent is Tencent. That is who own. They are the big company. They are a superpower in China.
Right, but who? So
Tencent is.
But I bet you, if we find out who the owner of Tencent is,
Tencent is the actual person who owns them?
And what
their people is Chen Yingji.
And what their connection is to the government.
Probably they'll have connections, but they literally own. They make so much money. Like in 2018, they made $312 billion because they literally have Fortnite, they have movies, they have so many things. But when you look at their movies since 2015, they have something called Rocco Kingdom 4, which is like an animated movie. But they're part of Warcraft, which is the World of Warcraft movie. They produce Kong Skull Islands, Wonder Woman, Venom, Bumblebee, Men in Black International, Terminator Dark Fate, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood for some reason, Top Gun Maverick, and Monster Hunter. So it's like it's all these giant films that they're part of that they are big blockbusters that they want to have in China, and their studios are able to partner with them so they could get them into China and still make lots of money, right?
Alibaba did Gemini Man, for example, Ninja Turtles, Star Trek Beyond, Mission Impossible that we talked about.
Yeah. A lot of like kind of worlds,
A Dog's Journey,
dog traveling movies that are easily to bring to China and not offend the government there. Again, like I don't think we've really tackled the topic that kind of it's so prevalent in this industry that we're in, but like you don't realize it until you start kind of pulling the strings and following those leads of where this is going.
This is a good documentary.
Yeah,
right here.
That won't be released in China.
No,
it won't. No.
We should call it that. Not released in China.
You know what we do? Oh. We get other people to produce
it.
Koreans to produce it, and Japanese.
Yeah, they hate Chinese, right?
Well, like the Japanese and Chinese, they have like
they got big.
Japanese like slaughtered them in World War II, right? Like, it was a huge massacre there. So they hate each other.
Yeah. No, but I mean, this is a topic that we talk about streaming a lot. We talk about like superheroes a lot, but like this is a super big issue in the industry, right?
It is. I consider it an issue.
Who doesn't conform to the Chinese propaganda machine?
Like, you mean like Tarantino?
Or Netflix?
No, they're pretty, I think.
Is Netflix in China?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Dun, dun,
I didn't know that.
I don't know. I'm just fucking...
Okay.
I'm talking out of my ass right now. But
oh my God.
I've never seen Netflix in China.
You can't watch Netflix in China. You have to use a VPN.
Yeah. And also, like, I didn't realize that I didn't make the lights in here red on purpose. They're just red, so I guess
they're
for
like
China.
A pinkish.
They're like a pinkish, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, China.
Yeah, you can't watch it in China. You have to use a VPN.
Right. But yeah, it's
like a lot of other things.
There's a lot of things going on in the world right now with China and Hong Kong and people protesting just to have freedom. The thing that we take advantage of every day, right? So, like when it comes to movies, like you would expect going to the movies an escape, but when you kind of see the internal workings of things, it almost spoils it a little bit because you're just kind of seeing. It's almost like seeing how the hot dog was made. It's just like it doesn't look good, but like I enjoy this, but like I don't like how this came to be. You know what I mean?
I have no problem if a film organically introduces China or has Chinese characters.
No, not at all.
We want diversity in films.
100%.
We want things like that, but when it is so forced, it is literally exactly what China is doing to their people.
Yeah.
Shoving it down people's throats.
Right.
Don't do that to us.
No.
Plus, yeah, it's we're coming from an idea where why is
this? Let's challenge.
Why is China in this film?
Yeah,
it takes place in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Why did
you want to go to China?
Why does everyone character
in Brooklyn? Motherless China?
You go to these movies and you see a lot of these Chinese influence and it's sad. You create like a little bit of this animosity against these people where you don't know them, they don't know you, but you're like, why are they in my movie? And it's almost like this selfish, feeling where
it's more that
you get it. It's a hard thing because.
It's a complicated topic. There's so many.
China's a very complicated topic, and I mean, what's happening in Hong Kong right now? It's nuts.
Right.
You hope for their freedom. That's all we're hoping for.
And it's not happening.
And I hope if we're getting things wrong here, let us know. You know what I mean? Like, let us know what we're getting wrong. Let us know what we're not.
We're just coming
speaking
from
to properly.
Yeah, like if you guys are upset at what we're saying, I would love. I mean, we opened this dialogue to talk to you guys and let us know. Like, if we're coming at this the wrong way, if what we're saying is incorrect, please let us know. We're not trying to be ignorant. We're not trying to be rude. All. In fact, again, we want there to be peace everywhere. We want things to be open. We're looking at this from the eyes of creators and how if I were to ever submit something and someone comes up to me and says, well, this is going to piss people off in China. It's like, well, I wasn't making this movie for that specific audience. I would love Chinese people to watch it, obviously, but if I ever got told that, I'd be very upset.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, like, movies are our escape. They're things that we look to. They're things that we love. And we just want to have positivity around it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want things to have to be controversial all the time.
It's true.
Right? Yeah, that was
a good topic.
That was a good discussion.
Yeah, we either will be losing a lot of followers
or gaining a bunch. Who knows?
Gaining a bunch.
Yeah.
Free Hong Kong.
Free Hong Kong.
Free Hong Kong.
I think that's where we lose.
That's right there, right when I said that?
Yeah.
That was a moment?
That was the moment. Well, people from Hong Kong will love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone else.
Well, let's double down. Free Hong Kong.
Free Hong Kong. Yeah. So, again, this is the movie podcast.
It is the movie podcast.
You guys need to go ahead to thistimewith.com/talk. Let us know how upset you were or what you thought we said that was correct, what you didn't like. And we would love to open the discussion. We're just here to talk about these kinds of things. Movies are our passion, and obviously sometimes we dive into things that maybe we don't have the most information on or the biggest connection to, but at least we'll talk about them, right?
Yeah. And if you have a second and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, drop us a rating, give us a review. Let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like. I mean, we're here to grow and to give the best podcast we can, right?
Exactly. We'll be having a lot more coming out this season as well. I mean, we're creeping up to Halloween.
Halloween? I thought you were going to say the holiday.
Halloween.
I was going to say Hollywood, and then I turned into Halloween so naturally that you almost didn't realize.
It was smooth.
It was smooth,
very smooth, yeah.
Yes. So again, thistimewith.com/talk. Send us some love there. Go on Apple Podcasts. Give us a rating.